We are coming on the air tonight with breaking news. Queen City News has declared Donald Trump to be the winner of tonight's Republican primary in South Carolina.
Former president defeating former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley in her home state, but Nikki Haley making it very clear tonight she will not be dropping out.
Well, taking a look right now at the latest numbers from the Palmetto State, the full vote yet to come in, but all signs are pointing to a resounding victory for the former president as he looks to take on Joe Biden in a 2020 rematch for the White House.
Queen City News has teams on the ground all across South Carolina. Our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes, standing by with the latest perspective. South Carolina Bureau Chief Shakira Speaks live from Haley's camp in Charleston, and then Queen City News anchor Robin Kennedy in Columbia with the Trump camp.
Now, that's where we want to start tonight. Trump was declared the winner mere moments after the polls closed at 7 o'clock. His victory speech hitting on many of the same notes and grievances that we've seen for months now.
And we want to throw things out now to Robin Kennedy with more on what the Republican frontrunner had to say about his victory tonight.
Former President Donald Trump trounced former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. There are 4 states plus D.C. that have primaries and caucuses before Super Tuesday. So Trump could have been anywhere, but he chose to be in South Carolina to stick it to Nikki Haley. Trump spoke to the crowd almost immediately after the South Carolina polls closed at 7, saying, "We can celebrate for 15 minutes, then get back to work." He said Michigan's up next, then Super Tuesday. Trump recognized Governor Henry McMaster and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. But Senator Lindsey Graham was greeted by boos when he took the stage. Trump clearly is increasing his momentum from his big win in the Palmetto State. But in Trump's mind, he has moved past South Carolina to be the Republican nominee and is ready for November.
There's never been a spirit like this, and I just want to say that I have never seen the Republican Party so unified.
This is a great moment in American history. We will probably never see another one like it. Every time a rocket launches, you know, it goes up slow and then it's climbing and climbing, and then boom, that next stage comes off and it goes. Well, we just did that. We just hit maximum velocity and we're going all the way.
America, the nightmare you're facing is just about over. Help is on the way. This is the most qualified man to be president of the United States. And let it be said that South Carolina created the biggest political comeback in American history.
Trump, as expected, made no mention of his ongoing legal troubles. He's due in a New York court on March 25th, well after Super Tuesday, when he expects to fully lock up the Republican nomination. Reporting in Columbia, South Carolina, Robin Kennedy, Queen City News.
I'm grateful to South Carolina. I always have been and I always will be. And I'm grateful that today is not the end of our story.
Well, despite another loss at the hands of Donald Trump, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is standing firm and not dropping out of the race. Our coverage continues now tonight with South Carolina Bureau Chief Shakira Speaks live with Haley's camp in Charleston.
And Shakira, Haley did get beat, yes, but she did much better than expected, and the tone of her speech tonight was rather upbeat, reflecting that. What else did she have to say?
Yeah, Brian, Alicia, she matched the energy of the crowd that was out here coming to see their first choice for president. She kept saying she's not getting out of the race. She's not going to get out of the race to give Donald Trump just the winning ticket for the Republican primary and the Republican to be the Republican nominee as well. Donald Trump did win his 3rd primary win this 2024 election cycle, but Haley first thanked her family for their support. Then she thanked the voters for getting out to the polls and continuing to help her get to the Oval. Now, she vowed to continue her campaign as she pushed to the March 5th Super Tuesday. She says she understands that 40% isn't 50%, but it is also not a small group of voters. She believes that she's gaining on her opponent, former President Donald Trump, and as well as President Joe Biden. Listen to what she had to say.
I've always seen our state as a family. Families are honest with each other. They say the hard truths. That's what I've done this entire campaign. And that's what I'll do now. What I saw today was South Carolina's frustration with our country's direction. I've seen that same frustration nationwide. I share it. I feel it to my core. I couldn't be more worried about America. It seems like our country is falling apart. But here's the thing. America will come apart if we make the wrong choices. This has never been about me or my political future. We need to beat Joe Biden in November.
So although Haley feels like voters in South Carolina are frustrated with the way they feel America is going, supporters still left here today cheering, smiling, and waving the campaign signs. I talked to a few of them, and they told me that they're going to continue to support Haley until they can't anymore, until they can't vote anymore. And they feel like even if they can't vote for her anymore, they plan to write her in. Her next stop is to Detroit, Michigan for the Michigan Republican primary race on February 27th, and we'll be following her journey into the 2024 election. For now, reporting in Charleston, Shakira Speaks, Queen City News.
All right, Shakira, thank you. Let's go ahead and bring things back into the studio now and check in with Chief Legal Analyst and experienced political expert, Khalif Rhodes.
And Khalif, a lot of things to touch on tonight. First, I have to say, this race was called by the AP, I think the quickest I've ever seen a race. It was like 20 seconds after polls closed. But the question I have for you is now, losing the primary tonight in South Carolina, do you think Nikki Haley is going to see more pressure from Republicans to drop out?
I think the pressure was already there. I mean, if you saw the stage with President Trump's support, he had everybody in the state of South Carolina on that stage supporting him. So I don't know who else could, tell her to drop out. But you're right. As soon as the polls closed at 7 o'clock, I think it was like 7:01 maybe, whatever like it's called. And so I believe obviously early voting numbers came in instantly, and it was overwhelmingly that he would win the race. I don't know about pressure because she already mentioned that there will be an election on Saturday in South Carolina, and on Sunday, the very next day, I will still be running for president. She said that before today. So she kind of already figured that she was going to not do well in this race. I think statistically, she didn't do as bad as she could have done. Nationwide, she's polling at 60%. Coming into this, she was at polling in her state at 30 to 45%. And so I think she landed where we all thought she would land, which was not winning the state. But I think there was statistical support to say that she can still stay in this race. We'll see what these other ones look like when Super Tuesday comes here and with Michigan next for sure.
Yeah, she's going to Michigan tomorrow to start campaigning, and she's got a lot of money in her coffers from some big donors. And one of the things they talk about is the long game going into the general election, that she can win that because you have the swing independent voters and also the suburban women that are there where they don't have that for Trump. So that's why she's staying.
And that's kind of what I was looking at tonight. If you look in South Carolina, they have an open primary, so you can be a Democrat, an independent, or a Republican and vote tonight. So only 4% of the total voter population in South Carolina voted in a Democratic primary. So you had 94% of the available folks to vote still eligible to vote tonight. A large percentage of the folks that voted for her tonight, you can guarantee, were Democrats that came out. And she was going out and telling folks that. She was saying, listen, it's open. Anyone can come out. You don't have to be a Republican. As long as you didn't vote in a Democratic primary, you can come and support me. On the other side, Trump was telling folks, listen, we need to change this rule. This doesn't make sense. Why does South Carolina allow folks to vote in a party that's not theirs? And so those are the types of things that are happening in that state. But it shows, like you said, to the larger question, does she have support in the long run? In a general election, I think she does. And that's something that we can look at going forward. But can she get past Trump right now? Statistically, it doesn't seem like there is a path to victory for her anywhere, but she has the resources and she has people that are still saying stay in this race. That's why she's not going anywhere.
Talking about support, though, I mean, when you look on the stage when Trump gave his victory speech tonight, you saw the governor, Henry McMaster, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott. You saw both state senators, Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham. You had congressmen that were there. You had Nancy Mace that was there. A lot of support. On Nikki Haley's side, she even said Ralph Norman is who has supported her from day one. What are your thoughts about both speeches?
I think when I look at Trump's speech, I can say this. It seemed like he's over anything with Nikki Haley. I don't remember him mentioning her name one time during the speech, right? And so it seemed like his speechwriters were like, let's get forward to Super Tuesday. Let's talk about Biden. Let's talk about the things that we need to talk about by November, because this race is really not between me and her anymore. I've done the personal attacks. Okay, that was great. I attack her husband. That's the normal Trump rhetoric. But right now, this is not even a race between me and her. This is a race between me and Joe Biden. So I'm looking above her. Regarding her, I originally thought maybe 30 seconds in that she was conceding, that she was stepping away. It sounded like she was walking away, because first she congratulated the former president on his victory, and she was talking about the things they had done and the promises that she had made and how she kept those promises throughout this election. And so I'm like, well, maybe you're stepping away. But then she doubled down and said, you know what? I have no intention of leaving because there is an alternative. And so her speechwriters were trying to create a path that this isn't about me. This is about you. And this isn't about Trump. This is about Biden. And if we allow Trump to go against Biden, we can lose. I think they did an excellent job of going full circle and trying to connect again with those folks that are undecided for the general. That strategy will be very good if she get past Trump. But if she can't get past him, none of that matters.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Excellent insight and perspective from Chief Legal Analyst and political expert Khalif Rhodes. We'll see you here at the bottom of the hour.